So, might just ask a follow-up question to Susan's, which is kind of how can we even get senior teams to take notice when L&D and other investment is being slashed? So at the moment, in this tough world that we're kind of going into, where there's some challenge around budgets and there's some challenge around resources. Yet we know, given what's happening in the wider world around kind of Black Lives Matter, which I know we're going to talk a little bit more about in a second, that it's such an important time to bring this to the agenda. How do we balance those two things off, where we're tightening the reins, but also we know it's such an important subject? How could L&D kind of cut through some of that a little bit?
Yeah, I think there's plenty of research that goes behind how organisations who are more diverse at different levels and in different sort of sectors of the business outperform many that don't. And there is now an increasing wealth of information out there on that. But I think it's also about, as I mentioned before, thought leadership and overcoming some of the things that are happening now. Because with a more diverse population who have more access to contributing to decisions that are made and those discussions, and almost removing some of the barriers that the hierarchy can instill, which I actually think, working remotely now, we all have a platform that we can use where we can start to build some of these comments and some of these questions. How can we use that to start to reach out to people for questions? You know, I think that's easier now because less of us are getting together in a room at once unless we have to. You know, how can we start to almost bring in and cultivate some of the comments and suggestions that are coming in, and then go back and reach out to those people to demonstrate what change it can make to the business. I think we're going to have to be more creative now. You know, there are certain industries that are in trouble if they aren't more creative, and in order to be more creative you need to get innovation from people who have different backgrounds and different experiences. And if those people don't feel included and like they belong in a business, then unfortunately you're really going to see a level of presenteeism, which is the opposite of what you want. So I think it's about being able to develop that argument for senior leadership. I think, you know, there is of course an argument of it's the right thing to do, but I think that's been lent on far too heavily over time. Not only is it the right thing to do, there is an incredibly strong commercial case for being inclusive and being aware and being willing to be educated in a humble way.